Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Brass Monkey X. So, my 3D printer's not working. Let's see if we can fix that. Alright, guys. So, this is my 3D printer here. This is the Creality Halot One. I've had this thing for about 2 years now. I've done a couple of videos about it. You guys have seen this on my channel a couple times. This is my first 3D printer that I've ever owned. My first and only 3D printer that I've ever owned. I taught myself how to 3D print on this. I'm familiar with the Creality software now for making miniatures. I make tons of miniatures on this machine for my Dungeons and Dragons stuff that I do. And I came down into my workshop the other day to print out a couple of minis. And what happened was I turned it on and I'm getting absolutely nothing on the screen here. I'll go ahead and turn it on now. I flick the switch on the back and nothing happens. It used to take a few seconds to boot up, and then you get the Creality guy on there, their little mascot guy dancing around on the screen, and I'm getting nothing. I tried it a couple times, turned it off, turned it back on. It's been pretty cold down here in my workshop, so I thought, maybe it's just too cold down here. I don't know why I thought that might have been an issue, so I brought it in the house and warmed it up a little bit. Again, turned it on, and nothing. So I said, crap, I don't know much about these things as far as like the insides go, how to fix these and stuff. But I did a little bit of troubleshooting to try and narrow it down and figure out what was going on. So I realized, let me turn this around and show you. On the back of my machine here, okay, it's plugged in. I tried it in a couple different outlets. Now, all of these outlets are working. They are functioning. The cord, there's nothing wrong with the cord. I started there. The cord's fine. And I know this because when I switch the power on, you can see, watch, there's no light. When I turn it on, tiny little red light comes on. I don't know how well that's coming through on the camera, but you see that little red light? On, off. On, off. So I know that the cord is delivering power. Okay? So I knew that wasn't the issue. So I figured, okay, maybe I blew a fuse or something, because there is a small fuse in here. So, to get to that, what I did was I unscrewed it. Okay, they provide you with a bunch of Allen keys when you buy this thing, so you'll have everything you need to take it apart. So I took this little back panel off and I popped out the fuse. The fuse was fine. There was nothing wrong with that. So I decided to go ahead, take this entire thing apart and get in there and take a look. So what I came up with was, let me just move this out of the way. I went through, took the whole thing apart, took this whole case off. Okay, so you take the case off of here. The sides come off, the back comes off. So a bunch of screws. I'll get to that and I'll show you how we do this. I took it all apart. I took a look inside. Everything looked okay to me. Nothing looked burnt out. Nothing had any weird smells to it or anything. So I went online to try and figure this out. So after a little bit of research, I figured out that if you're getting power with the cord, the switch has power to it, and then the power is not getting distributed anywhere else inside of here, the problem could be what's called the power supply. Okay? On this side of the machine, right in here, you're going to find this thing right here. This is the power supply. Now, when I open this up, I'll show you. The power comes in the back, okay, goes from the switch into this power supply, and then gets distributed around the machine to the different working parts. So from here, the power will get sent out to the LCD screen on the front. The power gets sent to the motors to operate this whole thing here. So the only thing I could think of is that maybe the power supply has gone bad on the one that I have. So I figured I'll get a new power supply. I'll try that first because this thing was 48 bucks. I found it on Amazon. It ships direct from China. Okay. But again, it was only a $48 part. So if I can fix this thing for $48, that's fantastic. That way I don't have to buy a new one. I don't want to have to buy a new machine. I like this machine. I'm comfortable with it. I learned how to 3D print on it. I'm comfortable with the software, so I really don't want to switch machines. So if I can fix this, great. If I can't, I might need some recommendations from you guys for a new machine. So I'm going to show you guys how to take this thing apart, get in there, and replace the power supply unit. Okay, guys, the first step is really simple. You're just going to remove the tray from here. So you got a couple of knobs on top here. I mean, you should know how to do this if you have one of these. I mean, you have to take the tray on and off from time to time. So this is a pretty simple step, but that's step number one. We're going to remove the tray. Get that out of the way. Okay, the next step, we're going to take a couple of the screws out of the top deck here, okay? Now, in order to get to the power supply, which is located on the left side here, you're going to have to remove some screws from the top of this thing. So you're going to remove this screw here, this screw towards the back, and then this screw here in the back. If you take these 3 screws out, I believe that's it. Possibly this one here too. But I believe it's 1, 2, and 3. You take those 3 out, and then you should be able to take your side plates off once those 3 are removed. So let me go ahead and get those 3 removed. I might just take that 4th one out just in case. I don't remember if that one wraps around or not, this side panel. So we're just going to take all 4 of those out. They're all the same size, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. Now, again, you can use the Allen keys that they gave you, or if you have your own, go ahead and use your own. This one's a little more comfortable for me, so this is what I'm going to be using. But let me go get that done, and then I'll show you what you do after that. Okay, I got the 4 screws out, and I did end up taking that 4th one out. Again, I took that front corner, the back corner, the one directly in the middle on the back, and then this one here next to the fan. I did take that out because I turned the unit around. As you can see here, this panel does wrap around and connect onto this side panel. So you might as well take that one out as well. Now the next step, there's a couple of screws on the panels themselves. There's one here, one up here, and then around on this side, you got one down here and one down there on each corner. So you want to go ahead and get those out. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay, so as you can see, I removed the screws from the panels, the 2 on the back and the 2 on the side. Now, just for reference, the screws on the panels are shorter than the screws that go in the top plate, okay? So keep them separate, and just remember, the shorter screws go on the panels, the longer screws, they go in the top. Also, I almost forgot, make sure you unplug this thing. You don't want to do it while it's plugged in. That's a bad idea. Make sure there's no power going to the unit when you go opening this thing up. Now, we took our screws out of the panels. Now the back panel and the side panel here are connected. So this whole plate should just kind of pop right off now. Yep, there we go. I don't know what's holding that in. Oh, okay. Looks like we're going to have to take this screw out too over here on this side. So let me just go ahead and get that out real quick and then pull the panel off. Okay, so the back panel is completely taken off now. As you can see, this is the back of the unit. And then this is the side we're going to be working on. So let me go ahead and get this turned real quick and show you what we got going on in here. Now, it may look like a jumbled mess to some of you guys. I was a little intimidated at first as well. Wasn't really sure what was going on in here. But again, here is our switch, which we know is functioning because we checked our fuse. We know the power is coming to this. We know the light is functioning on here when it's plugged in. So we know that we're getting power. Then the power comes out of the switch, goes over here into this unit, and then gets distributed all around the machine. And that's where the power comes from. So I'm assuming this is the problem. I'm hoping that this is the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect all these wires. I'm going to get a picture of it. Okay, always take a picture when you're working on stuff like this so you know how to put it back together. Okay, you don't want to forget. So get a nice clear picture so you know where every wire goes. You can go as far as marking them if you want. I mean, I'm probably not going to mark them. That's going to be like a bit of a pain in the butt. I'm not going to get masking tape out and do all that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get this unit switched out, and I'm going to put the new unit in. But first, I got to figure out how this unit actually comes out of here. I'm not quite sure. It probably screws on. There's probably screws underneath. Yep. So you're going to have screws underneath, down under there. We're going to take those screws out, and that unit should pop right out. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pop that out. I'm going to transfer all these wires onto the new unit, and I'm going to put the new unit in. Okay? So I'm going to go do that off camera. I'll be right back. All right, guys, real quick, just wanted to show you. You're going to have to remove 1, 2, 3 screws in order to get that power supply unit out of there. Again, those 3 screws are the shorter ones. They're just, I believe they're the same size as the ones for the panel, but keep them separated. You want to make sure you put all the screws back in the right spot. But you take out those 3 screws from the bottom, and then the power supply will be loose. So again, let me go switch all these wires to the new supply and pop the new supply in. Okay, guys, we have all of the wires disconnected except for this one right down here on that connection. That is going to be that little white connection right there. They have it like hot glued in there. So I'm just going to be really careful, take a utility knife, get in there, cut away that hot glue, and pop that connection out. So that, I don't know if your unit's going to look like that as well. I'm sure they hot glued all of them in there. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to get in there and remove that glue so that we can pop that off and connect it to the new one. Okay, we've got the old power supply out, as you can see here. Now again, I don't see visually anything wrong with it in there. I mean, I'm not going to take it apart and look at it, but I mean, I wouldn't know what the hell I'm looking for anyway. Again, it doesn't smell burnt up or anything. It looks perfectly normal, but I'm hoping this is the problem. Now, the new one here, as you can see, I have all the wires reattached, and I screwed it back on the bottom there. Put those 3 screws back in. Now, let me go over the order of the wires for you real quick, in case you don't want to take a picture and you're attempting to do this on your own. They are labeled. It's very faint, but you can see the numbers on this little plexiglass screen here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down the line, okay? So down here, we have that little wire. Okay, this one, it's got a little tiny little red and black wire. It's the smallest red and black wires in here. They go to one singular connector that plugs in down there at the bottom. That's what the plug looks like, that little white connector. You're going to plug that one in down there at the very bottom. Then we'll start down here and work our way up. The number 7 plug, right, that's channel 2. This is the positive. So it's going to be the small red wires, okay? There's, if you look here, you have these red and black wires that are connected to each other. They're double wires, okay? Channel 2, the positive, which is terminal number 7, that's the red one. The black one is going to go to channel 2, the negative, okay? That's number 6. Okay, so again, the double red wire to number 7, double black wire to number 6. And as we move up, as we ascend, the wires are going to get thicker and thicker. These ones down here were the smallest. These are a little bit bigger. These 2 here for channel 1 are a little bit thicker again. Okay. These ones have a blue insulation on them. These ones have a red insulation on them. As you can see, channel 1 positive, okay, that's number 5. That's going to be red. That's your red wire. And then your black wire goes to channel 1 negative. That's terminal number 4. Again, you can see it's these wires here. I don't know what gauge they are, but they're a little bit larger. I mean, they're a little bit smaller than the thicker ones. They go right here in the middle. Terminals 4 and 5, channel 1. Okay. And then up here on the top, you have, this is your main power. This is the neutral. And this, I assume, is a ground. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3, you're going to have your thickest red wire. Number 2 is the thickest black wire. And number 3 is going to be that yellow wire there, which is the same thickness. It's the same gauge as these two here. Okay. So all 7 connected again, plus that extra plug down there. You go ahead and push that down. Just give it a little protection there. Then you screw it back in on the bottom, and you're good. Then you're going to reassemble this thing in reverse order. You're going to put your panel back on. Okay. Then you're going to go ahead and put your panel screws in, which were the small screws there. Remember, they go on the side and on the back. And don't forget that one on the other side. And then you go ahead and you put your top plate screws on. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll test this thing out. All right, guys, we got it all put back together. Now, to do that, again, you just go in reverse order from how you took it apart. It's not very difficult. Just you pop that panel back on, you put the screws back in, and you're good to go. Now is also a good time to clean this screen on the top. If it's dirty, you just want to wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, okay? Just get all the dust off of it that you can. You don't want any dust on there. If there are smudges on there, what I recommend is just get a paper towel or get anything. Even the microfiber cloth will work. And just spray a tiny little bit of Windex on there to get the smudges off. And then dry it immediately. And then wipe it down again with a dry, clean microfiber cloth. You want to keep that nice and clean. But yeah, this is the moment of truth, guys. Let's plug it in and see if we actually fix this thing. So you go ahead and get your cord. I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in the back here. Okay, we got it plugged in. Go ahead and switch it on. Light still comes on in the back. Let's see if this screen lights up. Wah, wah. Look at that. Unfortunately, still not working. Shit. Well, that sucks. I don't know what I'm going to do now, guys. I thought that was going to fix it. Apparently, it's not the problem. This wasn't the issue. Oh, you shake it up. It kind of sounds like there's some stuff shaking around in there. But again, obviously, that wasn't the problem if it's still not working. I mean, the outlet's fine. I got all this other stuff on the outlet, all my lights and everything. So I know that's not the problem. I flick the switch. Again, there's a light on in the back where the switch is, but my screen's not coming on and this thing's just not functioning. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it at this point. Well, that was a big old waste of 48 bucks, I guess. But it is what it is. It was worth a shot. I mean, the only way to do a thing is to do it. So, I mean, I had to get in there and try. It obviously didn't work. So, what do you guys recommend? What do you think I should do from here? I mean, I like this machine, but I don't know if I trust Creality anymore. This thing only lasted me 2 years. I got maybe, I want to say maybe 40, 50 3D prints out of this thing before it went kaput. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know what the problem is. You know, I'm not super familiar with fixing small electronics like this. I thought I knew what the problem was. I attempted it. It just didn't work out. Let me know what you guys think. What should I do? Should I invest in another brand? Should I buy another Creality? What are your suggestions? What do you suggest? What are you guys using? Let me know, because I need a 3D printer. I have a we have a D&D game coming up. I need some minis printed here. I got to do something. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, guys. I mean, you can't win them all, I guess. We tried. You know, it is what it is. So, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you next time.